So we're doing yesterday's opener today along with today's opener. So this is the 10-11 opener from Wednesday. So this is based off adding square roots or subtracting square roots. So for the first one, we have the square root of 200 plus the square root of 50. Now step one on our notes say to go ahead and simplify each square root. So that's last week's lesson. So we're going to go and we're going to simplify the square root of 200 and then simplify the square root of 50. We start that by thinking, what are the factors of 200? What two numbers can I multiply together to get 200?
2.
Say to get 2 and 100, you said? Okay, for 100? 100?
Yeah. 10 and 10.
For tens?
25.
Okay, so then I'm going to come to 50. What are two factors of 50? 5 and 10. 5 is prime, and we said for 10 we can use 2 and 5. So from there, I come down, I write my equal sign, my square root sign, and I put all my prime factors under that square root sign. So my prime factors for 200 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. So at this point, you guys should definitely be understanding these first 2 or 3 steps here. I bring down my addition sign, my square root sign, and what prime numbers go under the square root sign? Good. Now, to continue simplifying my square roots, I then circle my factor pairs here. So there's a pair, and there's a pair. Once I've circled my pairs, what happens to them?
They cross out.
They cross out, and what happens to them, though? They could become a single number in the coefficient, the outside. So I crossed out a 2 and a 5. They both come to a single number on the outside. So if you're bringing the 2 and the 5 out, what's that going to equal?
3.
Say it again. 10. So 2 times 5 is 10. Square root, what do I have left as the radicand? 2. Then I'm going to bring down my addition sign. And now I'm going to look at the square root of 50. I have that factor pair. That 5 cancels with the square root and moves to the coefficient. What's my radicand? 2. So all of that was last week's lesson. Now we move to this week's lesson, adding square roots. So when we go to add or subtract square roots, we have to first find like terms. We base our like terms on whether the radicands are the same or not. So are my radicands the same? Yes. If my radicands are the same, then I go ahead and I add my coefficients, which will equal, and then my radicand stays the same. So it's going to be 15 square root 2. So tomorrow, when you guys take your quiz, I'm going to be looking to see that you show each step. When you drop down to a new step, make sure you put your equal signs in. That way I know where your next step is starting. Any questions on that first one? Okay, let's look at the next one. So now we have a longer one here. Square root of 45 plus the square root of 18 minus the square root of 80 plus the square root of 2. So we're going to start by factoring. So 45 we have for 9. For 18.
3 and 6.
Or 3 and 6. For 9 we have 3 and 3. Oh, it's kind of sloppy, doesn't it? For 80, 8 and 10.
10 to 5. And 8 to 4. And 4 to 2.
Now, you guys should be pros at this, so I'm going a little fast. And then the square root of 2, can I simplify that? Nah, it's in simplest form. So then I drop down. For the square root of 45, what are my factors I'm going to list, Isaiah? Okay, next. What do I bring down? Then? Under your square root sign, right?
Right. Then you're gonna bring the minus sign.
Okay.
Then you're gonna bring, under your square root sign, it's gonna be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5.
How many 2's should I have?
4.
Okay, times 5. Then,
Then you bring your addition sign down. And then under your square root, you will have 2.
awesome. All right, now what do I do, Devontae?
Add 1.
Not yet. What do I do before that? Look up there. Where am I at? I have all. Yeah, circle my pairs. So a pair of 3's, another pair of 3's, 2's, 2's, and then a single 2. Which that would just basically stay the same, right? Oh, what am I doing? I don't circle a single 2. Nobody even caught me.
Right, you put the 1 in front of
Not yet. We will. We can. Okay, so now I do what? Yeah, cancel and move it to the outside. So, Beyonce, you're going to walk me through this one.
Oh,
I know. You.
Okay.
All right, tell me.
Oh, put the 3 outside, the coefficient, square root 5, 3 plus 9 3 and the coefficient, square root 2, bring your minus down, cancel out the 2's, put your 2, both of the 2's in the square root. 2 times 2.
Is?
I mean, in the coefficient.
Okay.
And square root
What's 2 times 2, though?
4.
Okay, go ahead.
Square root 25 plus, and bring down the 2 with the square root.
Perfect. All right. So we're now to the new step. Now this is where we need to combine like terms looking at our radicand, what Devontae said. So when we go to simplify this, we want to go in order from least to greatest. So you're going to find your radicand that's the smallest. So what's my smallest radicand there? 2. So what are my like terms? A positive 3 square root 2 and what? Positive square root 2. What are my other 2 like terms?
35 and then 4.
Negative 4. Okay. So because the 2 is the smallest, we're going to work with that one first. Now, if I have a square root that's by itself, what do I put up in front of it to give it a value? A 1. So if I'm going to combine my like terms here, I'm going to combine 3 square root 2 plus 1 square root 2 to equal 4 square root 2. So you add your coefficients. So 4 square root 2. Now, I have 3 square root 5 minus 4 square root 5. So you're going to combine your coefficients here. So what's 3 minus 4? Negative 1. And then what's my radicand? Square root 5. Now, I want this in simplest form. If you write it like this, it is fine. But how could I write this so that it's in absolute simplest form? Anybody have an idea?
14.
So you could write it as 4 square root 2 minus, what could I drop here? Yeah, I could drop the 1 and just write square root 5. So either way would be acceptable. Any questions on that one? Okay, that was the end of 1011 opener, right? Go ahead and make sure your names are on them and pass them back towards Mr. McFarland.